Quite frankly, there have been so many film versions of A Christmas Carol, it can make your head spin, both for movies, for made-for-television, miniseries like the Guy Ritchie one we got recently. However, I believe there is one undisputed, can't-be-topped version of A Christmas Carol, and that is The Christmas Carol from 1951, starring Alastair Sim. It is a movie that I rewatch every Christmas with my dad, and it's one of those movies that never fails to just make me just cry, to the point where I'm just like, someone cutting onions in here? If you've read A Christmas Carol or seen any version of A Christmas Carol, whether it be on film or TV, then you know exactly what you're going into. Ebenezer Scrooge is a penny-pinching old crab who hates Christmas and thinks it's all a bunch of, what's the word? Oh, malarkey. However, one night, specifically Christmas Eve, he is visited by the ghost of his former law partner, Jacob Marley, or business partner, who tells Scrooge that he will be visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And at the end of the day, Ebenezer finds his humanity and corrects himself. In certain versions, say A Muppet Christmas Carol, for example, Ebenezer Scrooge plays a very over-the-top caricature. Michael Caine is good in A Muppet's Christmas Carol, let's not get that twisted. However, there are more than a few scenes where he definitively is chewing the scenery. However, Alastair Sim nails it perfectly. There are definitely some more cheesy moments, I will say. However, I chalk that up to, if I were encountering a ghost for the first time, that's probably how I would react. I love Scrooge's reaction to seeing the ghost of his old friend. Just like, you're not really there. It's just an admiration. It's just a bit of undigested food. A lump of potato. A piece of cheese. I specifically love his pronunciation of cheese. But what I love about this version more than any other is that the movie does such an excellent job of boring down to the bone marrow as to why Scrooge is how he is. He didn't get to the way he is just one day, just waking up being like, I think I'm gonna be an ass today. No, that never happened. It was a constant drip, drip, drip effect. From losing his sister through childbirth of Scrooge's nephew Fred, to his the business that he was a part of, Fezziwigs, slowly losing relevance and feeling the pressure of the world's changing, kid, and getting on board of progress. However, as Scrooge's world progresses in terms of finances and relevance, his emotional state kind of regresses. To the point that when Jacob Marley, one of his best friends, if not his very best friend, is on his deathbed, Scrooge goes to him and kind of treats it in a very to the point, very matter-of-fact kind of way. There's not a hint of emotion there. And the ghosts of past, present, and future do not hold back in exposing Scrooge's emotional scars for the world to see. It's rough, but at the end of the day, it's for Scrooge's own good. I believe that the three ghosts were handled pretty well, past, present, and future. I've seen some reviews online that say that the effects in this are incredibly dated, which, of course, the movie was shot in the 50s. They had to do what they had to do. However, my only real kind of nitpick with the movie, and it's a small thing, is that the Ghost of Christmas Future is probably just some dude under a bedsheet. That's it. And I'm not suggesting that the Ghost of Christmas Future be like Ghost Rider, but it's it was probably just a production assistant who was like, hey dude, put the sheet over your head. We got a job for you. But thanks to the direction and the editing, the Ghost of Christmas Future is actually pretty terrifying. And this movie contains the scene that makes me cry the most. This and Jean Valjean's death at the end of the 2012 Les Miserables. It's the scene in which, after all of this has happened, Scrooge has bought the biggest turkey for the Cratchit family. He's given a raise to all his servants. He goes to his nephew Fred's party, and he goes, and Fred, despite despite his uncle gaslighting him at every turn, is so excited to see him, and with hat in hand, Scrooge is like, "Hello, Fred. I hope that I'm still invited." And Uncle Fred's like, "Of course, Uncle Ebenezer!" Like, he's so enthused to see his uncle. And then the line that just gets me every time, where Scrooge looks at Fred's wife and says, "Can you forgive me? I have been a fool who has had no eyes to see and no ears to hear for so very long." I'm getting a little misty just thinking about it. Just seeing the transformation of just looking down on everybody to just embracing everyone and everything. It's handled so incredibly well. Like, when he's finally, like, he's turned the corner and he tells Cratchit that he's raising his salary and that he wants Cratchit to buy a new stove to warm the office before he writes another number in his book, Bob Cratchit. Like, it's handled so incredibly well, and the cherry on top is when Scrooge is just like, I'm so happy I don't know what to do with myself. It's so beautiful. I don't know how else to describe it. Folks, at the end of the day, this is one of those Christmas movies that I rewatch every year without fail. It's actually, if you look in the right places, it's actually free on YouTube. So if you type in A Christmas Carol 1951 Alistair Sim, you will find it. And please watch it. It is essential Christmas viewing.